I'm sure that by now you've seen plenty of videos, plenty of people talking about how would Enzo Maresca line up next season, right? Plenty of Chelsea YouTubers, people on social media talking about this each and every day, and every single day they change their minds, right? Every single day there's a new video coming out. This is how we will line up. No, this is how we'll line up. This is the system, that is the system, etc., etc., etc. Fine. We can speculate. That's our, let's say, job. But there's one thing in common, one thing every single one of those folks keep repeating again and again and again. I don't know if they repeat it because they're part of the same group, so they have to say the same thing, or they just don't understand how football works. Can you guess what that is? Well, it has to do with the fact that Enzo Maresca has never coached a Premier League side. It has to do with the fact that Enzo Maresca has been coaching a Championship side, Leicester, which has been promoted to the Premier League. Every single one of those YouTubers keep repeating the same thing again and again and again. Oh, we're taking a huge risk because he comes from Leicester, which was a Championship team and does not have that much experience, this and that. Did people forget who Enzo Maresca worked with? Does this guy ring a bell? Not the guy on the left. The guy on the left is Enzo Maresca, the other bald guy. No, not the guy behind Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola himself. Did people forget that he spent time with Manchester City? A Manchester City that has won the treble, and Manchester City that has dominated the English leagues for the last couple of years. Did people forget about that? Do you think Pep Guardiola works with idiots? Do you think Pep Guardiola would have had Enzo Maresca come back to Manchester City and be on his staff, be on his team if he wasn't an intelligent guy? Do you think Pep Guardiola is an idiot? I don't think so. I mean, if he is, then he's been extremely lucky all these years dominating the English leagues, right? And in Europe as well, one of the best teams right now. So this excuse, it's a lazy excuse, let's be honest. It's a lazy excuse saying, oh, Enzo Maresca has not coached a Premier League team. He's only coached now a Championship team. And then, of course, there was a small team before that. But okay, that's not huge experience, a huge, let's say, palmarès, yes? Or maybe it's not in English. I don't care. But the fact is, look behind the BS. Look behind the lazy excuses. This guy clearly knows football. You can watch plenty of interviews. You can watch Leicester play. You can watch Enzo Maresca explain football in a video called, I think, Enzo Maresca in the Masterclass, Coach's Voice or something like that. If you listen to the guy, you know he knows ball. So the fact that people keep on using the same lame excuse, oh, expectations are low because he comes from Leicester. Leicester is a Premier League team that was relegated. Okay, Leicester is not a Championship team. That said, it's also not an Arsenal or a Liverpool or Manchester United. Fair enough. But so what? So what? The guy has worked with Manchester City. Manchester City, the team, has been dominating the English leagues and Europe. Well, Europe, they won one Champions League, but they are one of the best teams on the planet for multiple years now. He knows how to deal with big clubs. Or at least that's what I'd like to think. So, rant over. Let's talk about how he might line up next season. Because again, I'm making some speculations here. Might be completely wrong. I made some assumptions as well, and that's completely fine. You can have your own down in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new here. No, I'm not Bruno Fernandes. No, I'm not Bruno Fernandes from Temu either. Maybe from AliExpress, maybe from Amazon, I don't know. But one day Bruno Fernandes will be on the channel. I can promise you that. Anyways, let's continue. All right, so first up, a quick refresh because the lineups I'm going to show you, you need to understand my thinking behind it. You need to understand Enzo Maresca's thinking behind those as well. So here I'm showing you 4-2-3-1 and 4-3-3. We've talked about that in the previous Enzo Maresca video. All of those will be in the top right corner. So what happens here with the 4-2-3-1? How come we end up with this formation? Well, basically, you've got your fullbacks that are going extremely high. What happens next? Well, to not get exposed to the transition, to a counter, you're left with your two center backs and your two midfielders, which is, of course, this box here prevents you from conceding stupid goals. Then the 4-3-3. The 4-3-3, the same thing. You've got your fullbacks going extremely high, and then you're left here with a, let's say, three-man defense that should counter a transition or should defend against a transition. Of course, you can always tweak it. This is, again, a screenshot from Enzo Maresca's explanation on that Coach's Voice video. So here you're left with 3-man defense, but it has started the same way. It has started 4-3-3. So how come you have a 3-man defense? Well, this is the fullback, center back, and the inverted fullback has joined. In our case, could be Caicedo. Why is that important? Well, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 players here in the middle of the pitch, only 2 players between those. So you're dominating those areas here, 4 against 2. Now, like I explained in the previous video, if let's say one of the center backs from the opposition joins in to have, let's say, 3 against 4, you can always have your number 9 join in as well. So you get now 5 against 3. The inverted fullback also has a direct line to the number 9, and the same with the midfield. You can cut through those lines. And this is basically a better representation without the opposition. So let's start off with lineup number 1. Again, I've made some assumptions. That we might or might not have bought some players. So I'm starting off here with a 4-3-3. Petrovic for me still in goal. We've got Cucurella left back, Colwill, Araujo, Gusto. Then in midfield, you've got Caicedo, Enzo, Palmer, Madueke and Nkunku wide, and Benjamin Sesko as our striker. Again, this might be against a, let's say, low block, high block. You will have to change the lineup, of course, depending on who you're playing with. So the midfield can change, the attacking trio can change as well. It will depend on which team we're playing against. But just because I'm playing like this does not mean that we cannot switch it up, as you can see here on the side. This is the example we've just seen from Enzo Maresca's video. You've got the number 5 here, in this case the inverted fullback, joining in. Like I said, these 2 lines, these 2 arrows means that these types of players need to be intelligent, needs to be good on the ball, have great passing. I think someone like Reece James, which of course I've put here Gusto, but like I said, we can change it up. Reece James, his time at Wigan showed that he can play in the middle as well. And so a direct pass to the number 9 here, which in this case would be Benjamin Sesko, could be Nkunku as well, could be Nicholas Jackson. You cut through everything and you got a, let's call it, clear-cut chance. Second example is the one that we've seen before as well, dominating the middle of the park here. In case one of the center backs are joining in, helping the opposition, then you've got our number 9 jumping in as well. Again, dominating, overpopulating these areas. And so why am I sticking with Nkunku and Madueke? Well, Madueke makes sense right now, right? He's one of the only players that will play there because we don't want Palmer to be stuck in these types of position. You want Palmer to be a bit more free. So Madueke here, maybe we get Olise, maybe not. This will be in the next slide. Then Nkunku, why not Mudryk? Why not Sterling? Well, could be, but Enzo Maresca's system really benefits 1v1s. And I think Mudryk, if you remove the speed, not that great 1v1. But again, like I said, it really depends against what type of team we're playing. High block, low block, it really depends. Moving on to example number 2, here I give you a bit more options. So up front, we're starting here with Nkunku, Jackson. On the left, you've got Mudryk or Somerville from Leeds. Again, I make assumptions of whether or not we're going to buy players or this summer, these types of players. Palmer in the middle, Mikel Olise. Then we've got Enzo and Gallagher, although there's a high chance that Gallagher will be sold this summer. You've got Caicedo, Cucurella, Chilwell, shall I say, Colwill, Disasi, Reece James. And then you've got Jorgensen in the goal, which is coming from Villarreal, because apparently we're looking for another goalkeeper because Kepa, Slolina, Sanchez, Petrovic is not enough, Bertinelli is not enough, so we need another one, right? Another one, like the great composer DJ Khaled is saying. Anyways, in this case here, you can also be way more versatile. You can change it up. You can have Caicedo in midfield and then do the inverted fullback with Reece James joining in with Caicedo, which means that Gallagher, or in this case Enzo, can go a bit more upfield, play with Palmer if Palmer goes even deeper as well, joining with Nkunku and Jackson. You can change it up, right? You can have now starting here 4-2-3-1. You can end up with 4-4-2, for example. Or you can change it up, 4-3-3. It really depends how we are planning the game. But one thing stays the same is that the wingers should be extremely versatile, should be extremely good on the ball 1v1s. Because if that fails, then I think the whole move going forward is going to be a disaster. Because if you look at how Leicester are playing, again, it's the guys up front, it's the wingers playing the 1v1s, then making the runs, cut back, and scoring easy goals. Well, easy goals if you can score them. Up next, changing it up a little bit. This is 3 at the back or 5 at the back, depending on how you want to watch this. But you've got Colwill, Araujo, and Reece James. Yes, I put Reece James as a right center back in this case. Jorgensen still in goal. Then we've got Malo Gusto, Cucurella, and Chilwell. Why did I put this option here? Because to me, it would be mind-blowing if Malo Gusto gets benched next season. He was one of the best players for us last season. It would be insane to bench him next season. Now, if you play Malo Gusto, what are you going to do with Reece James? Are you going to bench our captain? Are you going to bench arguably the best red back in Premier League right now? Maybe the world? Also crazy. So I came up with this type of lineup. Again, these are just my assumptions. Then you've got Caicedo in the middle with Casadei and Enzo. I know I had to put Casadei because when he played at Leicester last season, well, not that much, but maybe Maresca knows how to play him. Then you've got Madueke Palmer, Mudryk Sterling, and Nkunku Jackson. Self-explanatory. And again, here as well, you can change it up. You can have Reece James, although this is not an inverted fullback type of strategy, but you can have Reece James join up with Caicedo, helping him out if Casadei and Enzo go upfield a little bit more. Then the last one here, I'm putting here even more options. These are a lot of assumptions. So we're in goal with either Jorgensen or Petrovic. Then Reece James, Gusto, by the way, this is a 4-3-3. Reece James, Gusto as right backs. Remains to be seen what happens there. Araujo, Disasi, Colwill, Badiashile. Why Colwill, Badiashile? Well, left-footed center backs, of course. And then left back here, Cucurella and Chilwell. In the middle, Caicedo or Lavia, Chukwuemeka or Andre Santos. We don't know. Will they go on loan? Will they not go on loan? Remains to be seen. But these are the options. Casadei and Enzo. Then on the left here, Mudryk Sterling, Madueke Palmer. And up front, Nkunku or Jackson or Benjamin Sesko. And here again, you can change it up depending on which player you're putting in. Because I do think that Lavia is way more versatile, I would say. Versatile is the word? Than Caicedo. I know if you watch Southampton, I'm Belgian, so I've known Lavia for quite a while. If you watch Southampton, I think Lavia is also a bigger goal threat than someone like Caicedo, for example. So you can definitely change it up. But if it were a 4-3-3, you would line up like this. And then you can play the inverted fullbacks, but not necessarily. You don't always have to play the inverted fullbacks. The inverted fullback should not always be used. If, let's say, the opposition puts a low block, really only goes on the counter, then yes, it could be useful to have a Reece James or a Cucurella join in with Caicedo in case we get caught on the counter, because we want to put all of the 5 other players up front, put extreme pressure on their defense. Then it would make sense. But otherwise, you shouldn't really do that. So as you can see, maybe even here, I'm quite excited for next season. I know this summer is going to be maybe a turbulent one yet again, because we're going to sell players, we're going to buy players as well. But the lazy excuse that plenty have been using, that Enzo Maresca, oh, it's risky, expectations are extremely low because he comes from the Championship, Leicester, etc., etc. And this is Chelsea. Are our standards that low? What do you mean? How do you know he won't perform extremely well? Maybe he will win us a trophy next season. Maybe he will bring us Champions League football. You don't know. You are making yourself think that, oh, automatically he's a bad coach because he comes from Leicester in the Championship. How many world-class coaches came from small teams and joined big ones? Where did Arsene Wenger come from? Where did Sir Alex Ferguson come from? Big clubs? No, not big clubs. And these became legendary coaches. So give the man a chance. I will be supporting him from day one until his last day. Like I said, these were just my assumptions in this video. Do leave yours down in the comment section below, and I see you all in the next one. Bye bye.